Continuing where we left off in the last video, let's go to the next type of lipid, which would be our amphipathic lipids. These are going to be lipids that have a clearly hydrophilic region opposite a clearly hydrophobic one. For the record, the terms amphipathic and amphiphilic are synonyms. So some authors use the term amphipathic, others use the term amphiphilic. They mean the same thing. So the easiest way to understand what an amphipathic molecule is to look at a very common example, and the one we're going to use here are the phospholipids. So here's a phospholipid. Notice at one end of the phospholipid, we have the phosphate group that it gets its name from, but there's also some other oxygens and a nitrogen up there. This is clearly an area of the molecule that's very hydrophilic. There's a lot of polar covalent bonding up there. On the other hand, there are two fatty acids coming off of this. We have these two fatty acid tails coming off down here, and they're clearly hydrophobic. And so we have this head that's hydrophilic and these two tails that are hydrophobic. So we often draw as a simplified version the phospholipid cartoon that's in the middle of your screen. The circular head with two tails coming off of it. The head being hydrophilic, the tails being hydrophobic. If we mix a bunch of these phospholipids into water, we're going to see what are called micelles form, because the heads can hydrogen bond with water, but the tails can't. And so the tails seek refuge near each other. And so we essentially get these spherical blobs of lipid with the heads pointing outward and the tails pointing inward, and these are called micelles. At the same time, we'll also start to see other formations take effect, where we'll see tails facing each other, heads facing towards water, and eventually you get enough phospholipids together to form actually a barrier between sets of water. What we're seeing here is what's called a phospholipid bilayer. Two layers of phospholipids with the heads on each side pointing towards the water and hydrogen bonding with it, the tails facing inward, and this forms a barrier. This is in fact a cell membrane, and we're going to look at membranes down the line in a future video. Phospholipids are important structural lipids. They're used for building cell membranes. That's the case with phospholipids and other amphipathic lipids, which are built using fatty acids as a building block. Now keep in mind, these are not polymers of fatty acids. Amphipathic lipids are not polymers. They're simply complex, more complexly shaped lipids with a hydrophilic side and a hydrophobic side, in which fatty acids make up the hydrophobic side.